Antitrust experts have been waiting now almost 40 years for a federal court ruling that deals with a vertical merger like AT&T-Time Warner. Meanwhile, the internet has been born. Cell phones have come onto the scene. Google and Amazon have launched. We are in a completely different world from the last time a court really considered these issues. And I mean, this was a huge win for AT&T, but it was also a huge win for the traditional view, which was championed by the late Robert Bork, a very free market Chicago school approach towards mergers, which the mainstream of antitrust scholarship has really moved away from in 40 years.
This morning in the Times, Andrew Ross Sorkin writes that the government's case always felt political, and it sounds like you kind of agree with that.
Well, yeah, first of all, vertical mergers are not usually challenged in such a way. And I think that the administration has made it very clear that they disliked CNN perhaps or some other aspects of Time Warner. But I think the main point here is that the Justice Department looked at it from a cable television point of view and whether it was going to raise prices in that particular world, which it possibly could. But the real issue was, is Time Warner better off to fight a Netflix, for instance, or the tech companies by itself, or is it better off with AT&T? And the answer is resounding, that it's better off with AT&T. Look at the terrible job that it did competing with HBO, which was kind of a precursor to a Netflix, if you like, and they did a very, very bad job. So that's the real battle. It's the tech companies, not the cable companies.
Jim, one of the key questions, of course, here is what does this mean for Comcast in terms of its pursuit of Fox, and could it expect to meet some sort of a challenge from the DOJ? Many say, given that ruling yesterday, it becomes less likely. Where do you come down? Well,
I think it's a clear green light for the Comcast bid. Now, it is true, it's not exactly like this. Time Warner, AT&T is a pure vertical deal, a buyer and a supplier. Comcast already owns NBC Universal. They already own a studio. There is a horizontal component to this, which they will look at more closely. But there's a big horizontal component in Disney. They already own the studio. If anything, the content creation will be less concentrated after a Comcast takeover than there would be with Disney, because Disney has such a big market share. And both of those people will expect, because it's still a very competitive market for content. So I don't see any impediment, unless the Justice Department just decides they're going to ignore this ruling and tee this whole thing up again and hope for a better job.
What do you think the chances of that are?
Very remote at this point.
And
I don't see. They can't really do it, in my view, until they get a district court opinion on appeal. I do think the government will appeal this, even if the merger. You do believe they will appeal? I do believe they will, even if the merger goes ahead and they recognize that they probably can't unwind it, although that, I guess, would be a feasible remedy. But in an attempt to clarify their doctrine and maybe give them some ammunition going forward, I mean, the judge did give them, I don't know, even I could call it a bone, maybe a splinter of a bone, when he said he wouldn't presumptively approve a vertical merger. He did say vertical mergers deserve scrutiny, and then he did apply an analysis that many of the mainstream people have said that, for more intense scrutiny, but then he still said, oh, it's fine. So there are some things they could work with there on appeal, but I can't imagine they're going to step up on another case like this until they get some encouragement from another court.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.